So, Mark, did you see that video of the American Airlines flight that flooded, water coming through the floor? And the tweet said that everybody was worried they were going to drown. I don't know that that's my thought that I would have had, but this would have sucked.
Nobody wants to get hepatitis on their flight from the poo water coming out. I don't even know if it's from the toilet, but I assume it's got to be something like that from the toilet. But I don't know if you thought like me. But I'm like, oh, they just wanted to recreate the Crazy Rich Asians wedding scene as it comes down the aisle.
No, I didn't think that. I'm still curious as to people how they thought they were going to drown. How do they think there's enough water on that plane in order to fill up the whole cabin? That one I don't get, but it would be scary. This would be realistically. You're afraid of flying. You're sitting there on the plane and the water starts seeping up. This is kind of scary.
I'm just kind of ticked because they tell everybody to put bags under the seats because they can't fit them in the overhead. Now you got to have all your crap sitting on your lap. Oh, terrible flight. Only America.
Flooded bags. Reminds me of Atlantis. So the big news this week, Mark, is the FTC coming in with these rules for resort fees and for concert ticket fees. And basically, they're doing what should have been done a long time ago, common sense, saying that everything has to be disclosed up front. We've had this with airline tickets for a long time where you search and you get the final price that includes all taxes and fees. That's basically what's going to happen for resort lodging now. Resort fees, taxes, everything have to be included. Also with concert fees. And the rules say that the final price has to be the most prominent thing. So if they show other prices, let's say you're looking at a hotel and they show the room rate without the resort fee, that would have to be smaller than the actual final price. So finally, some consumer friendly things going on.
Yeah, this should have been done a long time ago. I don't know why they did it for airlines and not for everything else, but we talked about like the ticket fees are the worst thing, I think, of all of this, and you never know what they're going to be. Where I guess it's same for resort fees because you can't really compare two different resorts in the same town because you don't know if one has resort fee, one doesn't, how much it is, and all those type of things. So this just makes it so much easier to get, to the bottom of things. What's the best value for you compared to, what you want to get out of your trip or out of your concert and stuff. And there's so many different ticket resellers that it's hard to price them all out, and you lock up tickets. You only have so many minutes to book it, and that kind of stresses you out. And then you invested time getting to that end page. So I think people end up just paying it because they're like, whatever, everybody else probably has it too. So I don't mind them having fees, but I do like having them all up front now, or it will be soon.
Yeah, it makes it much easier to compare hotels. You don't have to try to figure out everything. We all know resort fees are just crap, all the inclusions, and none of that really matters. It's just they throw together some stuff to make you feel like it's worth it. So I don't care too much about what's included in the resort fee. I just want to see the final price, and this is fine. Some people want to get rid of resort fees. The ship has sailed on that for those people. I just want to say the ship has sailed on that. This is the best that we're going to get, full disclosure. And ultimately, in the end, now that we're seeing the final price, does it really matter if they have resort fees or not? You're just seeing the price you're going to pay, and that's the good thing.
Yeah, I would even argue that resort fees actually keep prices lower because they're just trying to keep money out of the Expedias and the TripAdvisor, stuff like that. Pocket, when you book through third parties, they don't get a cut of the resort fee. If they got rid of the resort fee, they would just increase the prices, but then they would have to account for those fees, so they would even make them more expensive. So this is just a way that they can keep more money in their pocket, which hopefully, in theory, keeps the prices a little bit lower than they would if they had to pay out those commissions on everything.
And just remember, with resort fees, there's ways with certain programs like Hyatt Globalist, for example, where you can get out of the resort fee, and then that means that the rates are lower and you're coming out ahead. There's been hotels I've stayed at with $50 resort fees and parking fees, and like in Orlando, I think Grand Cypress, stuff like that, where you're saving $80, $90. So there's ways in this hobby to get around the resort fee, whereas if that didn't exist, you'd be paying more. So, look at it that way.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago, we just talked about going there, and $75 parking everywhere. It's insane. I don't get it, but we get it free as a globalist, and it makes it that I'm always going to stay at a Hyatt because nobody else really offers that.
So back to the government going after companies. The CFPB sues Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo over Zelle. A lot of people don't know that the big banks in this country own Zelle. I think it's 7 banks that got together and formed Zelle back in the day. And there's been so many scam reports over the years with Zelle. It got to the point where you would log in and try to use Zelle on some of these bank things, and they'd say, are you trying, did somebody ask you for gift card scams? There was all kinds of things, but the big takeaway from Zelle was once you sent the money, it was nearly impossible to ever get it back, meaning that if you got scammed and you clicked that button, it instantly went to the other person's account and there was no recourse. I know people who have gone through this. There's been tons of stories about it, and now they're getting sued for it.
Yeah, or if you just like plug in the email wrong or the phone number wrong and it goes to somebody else, I'm sure that's happened quite a few times. And that's the give and take. Like, I love that it's instant, especially when I'm moving money from like my account to my wife's account to pay a bill or something like that. It's so much better than waiting a day or two. But there's protections in waiting a day or two when in a traditional bank transfer, you can cancel that for a time being. You can call the bank and do it. With Zelle, it's like, oh, hey, you push that button, you okayed it, and it's instant, which is kind of crazy. So I hope something good comes out of this. There's definitely needs to be more protections, but I also like that it's instant. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there, but hopefully they figure it out. But yeah, 7 banks getting together to open it. I don't know how that's allowed. It just seems weird.
And then when something goes wrong, they're like, oh, go talk to Zelle. It has nothing to do with us, even though we own part of it and we created this whole system. Yeah. This is why they're getting sued. And this is, I don't know what the answer is. I use Zelle all the time. I use it to pay contractors. I've used it to pay you for years. Yeah. I do like the way it works. It works very simply. It works very well, but there's a downside to that. And people have lost hundreds, I think in this lawsuit, what are they talking, $870 million in fraud in the last few years on Zelle, which is a significant amount of money. And just be careful. That's, I guess, our takeaway in telling people, be careful with Zelle.
I wouldn't send Zelle to anyone that I didn't know personally in person. I would never do it to buy something, or like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, nothing like that. Never do Venmo, Zelle, nothing like that. That's where the scams happen a lot, or somebody calling on the phone. Only do it to friends and family is what I would say.
So Southwest this year announced the big change of their whole thing, getting rid of the cattle boarding call, whatever it was, and moving to assigned seats. Yeah, the cattle call boarding. That's what I was trying to think of. We got some news on how some of their status is going to work with the new seat assignments. Specifically, A-List is going to be able to select standard seats at the time of booking. They'll be able to get extra legroom seats 48 hours out. A-List Preferred will be able to get any seat. And then Companion Pass, there's some perks for choosing seats for your companion. They're talking about extra legroom seats here, Mark, but I'm guessing that's just exit rows, because I don't think they're going to be changing all their seating configurations, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's further down the line that they want to add that in. So I don't know how many years it's going to take, but it's going to take a while. So I don't know what that would be, or they're just setting this up for down the road. Maybe exit rows, stuff like that. Maybe the front row, they'll label as those things. And then as they add in the seats and reconfigure everything. A couple takeaways. It's cool to see companions get whatever the companion pass holder has as status. So if you have A-List Preferred, you can pick any seat, and then your companion you can pick any seat for your companion. That's kind of cool. I know people were worried about that. The second thing is, I don't think this is going to be good for anybody without status. I'm sure all seats are going to be some type of cost at booking. You might have to wait till the end to get assigned, similar to what you see with like a Spirit or Frontier. Maybe they'll do like an AA or United, where some seats, if you book early, you can pick, and then other times, you run out of those and it's all paid for. I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But another thing is, what are they going to do for credit card holders? Because currently they get like early boarding perks and things like that, a couple a year. Are they going to get free upgrades to extra leg room? Are they going to get assigned you can pick your seat right away? What are they going to do there? Because you definitely need to replace those perks.
So let's move on to some credit card news. 5% categories for the first quarter on the Freedom, the Dividend, the Discover cards. Let's look at it. Freedom, we're starting out good with grocery stores, excluding Target and Walmart. Then you have fitness clubs for all those New Year's resolutions, hair, nail, spa, Norwegian Cruise Line, which is super interesting. They're also going to do a bonus one, which I'll let you explain in a minute. Discover, restaurants, home improvement. City Dividend has Amazon and streaming services. Dividend is cool because you have the whole year to do the 6,000 and spend 1,500 per quarter, but you can choose to do it in any quarter. So you could do 6,000, get your 5% back in whatever quarter you want, or you could spend in a variety of quarters. Of course, nobody has the Dividend card anymore, Mark. I don't know, but there you go.
I wish they would bring it back. It's nobody knew about it. Nobody talked about it, and then they just discontinued it. I do like the Rewards Plus, and they do the $500 every month depending on how you spend. You don't have to pick anything. I think that's really consumer friendly, and it's cool that you're doing it every month. So I always just have a calendar alert. All right, time to go spend your $500 this month, and I put it back in my wallet, and then I take it out when I'm done with it. So That one works pretty well, but I would love to have the dividend. Yeah, and then the Freedom, it's their 15-year anniversary. So every quarter, I guess, they're going to come up with this like pop-up extra one. This time around, it's tax prep or insurance. We don't know what constitutes insurance. Is that car insurance, home insurance, like, basically anything that's insurance, does it count? I don't know. We'll have to see, but it doesn't kick off until March, and it's still a part of the $1,500 cap. I think most people will be fine doing the grocery, so it's kind of worthless unless you don't cook or whatever, and you dine out and stuff. Maybe this fits you a little bit better for that. But I would have loved to see it either have its own cap or start right at the beginning. It's kind of weird the way they set this up, but we should be seeing something like this each quarter. And if it's just like at the end of it and something random, I don't know, not so exciting.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to intro. I thought you were going to have something worse to say about it. It's dumb. Like, this is our 15 years and we're going to tax prep. That's our big thing.
Yeah.
And then it's not even an extra cap, which I think in the past, this is just a vague memory of mine, that they did at some point do some promotion where they had a separate cap for something in some quarter. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I guess it's good that we're getting more things, but why couldn't they just add tax prep to the normal thing for the 3 months? And what is special about this? Why is this a birthday thing? But I guess, March tax prep, I guess. There's got to be more exciting categories than that for a birthday celebration.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're getting like a kickback somewhere, something. They're definitely getting a kickback from Norwegian. That's just so random. It's not like it's cruise ships. It's Norwegian. It's just so niche. I don't know. I know some people are excited about it because they had a Norwegian booking coming up. Now they're going to get 5 times. But the worst category every year is Amazon, which Dividend has, I think, because you can buy Amazon gift cards and get 4 or 5x pretty much any day of the week if you have the right credit card. So I never get excited for that. Or there's the Amazon 5% back. Same with Target. You can do the same thing with Target. Or if you have the Target Red card or Circle card, you get 5% back. So whenever I see those, I'm like, oh, really? Like, this isn't fun.
What also isn't fun is what's happened with Chase's referral program. Specifically, they lowered referrals. I mean, they had raised referrals, right? I guess we should say that first. They had raised the referrals to 40K on a lot of the ink cards, but now they put them down to 20K. But now they also have reduced the cap. It used to be 200,000 in a year. Now it's 100,000. So where we sit now is you get half the referral and half the limit of what it was recently.
Yeah, which is the same when it was 40 and 200K. You could do the same amount of referrals as now at 20 and 100K. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do them in lockstep. Maybe they just wanted to let it go throughout the year for some legal reasons. They had to keep that up there until the end of this year. So you can still get 5, which is probably enough for most people. But the cool thing is that an ink card refers to all the ink cards. So you don't have to do 1-to-1, or if you have the unlimited and the person wants to cash, you can still do the referral. So that makes it easier. And then if you have more than one type of ink card or multiple of the same ink, each card comes with its own 100K cap. So I don't think this will be a big deal for most people because of that. But I just wanted to point out that each card has its own individual cap. So a lot of people probably think 100K across all cards, but that's not the way it works.
Am I remembering this wrong? But when they first raised it up to 40K, didn't the cap used to be 100K at that point back in the day?
I think so.
And so we're just sort of correcting things. Who knows what they're doing? But like you said, most people aren't going to run through all their referrals. It just sucks that you're getting half of what you used to, but 20K is still very valuable and certainly worth pursuing.
Yeah, it's easy points. And sometimes even when they have like the increased offers in branch, it's better if you just refer and do it online. You end up coming out a little bit ahead, or not having to do the hassle of dealing with a banker who usually messes up stuff and all of that.
So it's Christmas Day, meaning people still have time to do things before the end of the year. And one of the coolest things that you love to do, I've done it in the past, not doing it this year, but is the triple dip. And that's basically where you get a card that has calendar year credits right at the end of the year. So you could get the credit this year, next year, and then in the following year, in 2026, before you have to pay the annual fee. Yeah, explain how that works. I guess the platinum is the big triple dip, but there's some other ones as well.
Yeah, the personal platinum or Amex business platinum are the 2 big ones. And we probably should have done this last week. That's my fault for not thinking ahead a little bit. I think you still would have time with the platinum because they usually ship those in a couple days, but it's going to be definitely tight. But yeah, because of the overhang. So you sign up for it, let's say today, and you get it and you spend the $200 on the Amex airline incidental credit. You get that. And then on January 1st, you get another one. And then your annual fee will hit of December of next year. So December of 2025. but you get a 30-day window, or it usually posts a little bit after your anniversary date. It's a little bit slow. So if you have the 30-day window where you can downgrade or cancel at that point if you so choose and get the full refund, that puts you into January of 2026 when your clock resets, and you could do another one of those. It works for, the Dell credits. If they were going for the full thing, you can do it that way too. But we don't know if that's going to be renewed. Another good one is the Bank of America Premium Card. This is probably my favorite of them all. It's got a 75,000 point sign up bonus, which is worth $750. You get a $300 airline incidental credit every year and a $150 lifestyle credit, which works, towards DoorDash or streaming services, stuff like that. So if you triple dip that, you're getting $900 in airline incidentals and $450 in elite credit or lifestyle credits, plus a $750 sign up bonus. That's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, super cool and worth doing. Sorry, we're a little late on telling you about it, but especially the platinum. Well, the platinum too, you can get the card number right away most of the time.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could do that for sure. So we talked on this week's MTM Travel in depth about this, Hilton's quote unquote devaluation. They have raised the price of awards up to $150K for some hotels, but they also have variable pricing on different nights for the first time ever. So think of it like Hyatt's peak, non-peak sort of thing. So a lot of changes happening in Hilton land. But yeah, this was kind of scary for people in the hobby as they started searching this week and saw prices, not only different prices, but higher prices than ever before.
Yeah, it really hurts. The free night certs are still valuable. They should cover no matter what the standard night rate says. So if it's 120K, 130K, 140K, at the same property, they could be varying depending on the date. But the free night cert should still work if it says it's the standard award. But a lot of times you might only have 2 free night certs or 3 free night certs. You want to spend 5 or 6 days somewhere. So you're tacking on a couple days with points. Well, that all of a sudden went up 20K a night, fit 10K a night, which is $50 to $100 worth of points. It's going to hurt a bit. The fact that they didn't say anything about it and we just noticed when we were searching properties is kind of crazy. And it seems to be, most notably on the high end properties, but some people have noticed it on the lower or mid tier properties too, maybe 5K a night here or there. And it just kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, it's a standard award. That's a good rate. Well, you don't know. It depends on the day.
Yeah, we go more in depth on MTM Travel. So if you want to hear more all about this, some of our thoughts, the intricacies, the free night certs, the long-term value, what might change, how technology is working against us, check out MTM Travel from Monday. More on this, but not good. But I still think there's tons of value for Hilton in earning points and the way you're going to do it. So the sky isn't falling as far as that. But Mark, let's end with some cool S on our Christmas edition of this show, talking about some of our favorite travel of this year.
Yeah, I had to go back through my calendar because it seems like years just kind of mesh together. I don't know if that happens for you. And then you forget about some trips and stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. We did that too. Did you have to do something similar?
This was my lightest year of travel in quite a long time. I still had some big trips. It's weird when you say that, and I still had some really big international trips, but I think it was a little easier to remember this year compared to other ones because you have a lot of smaller trips that you've taken.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been gone just about every weekend.
Yeah, it's been a lot, especially in the fall. It's just been kind of crazy to finish this year, and similar in the spring, but not quite as heavy. But yeah, I don't know. So do you want to do like our favorite flight and then our favorite hotel and then favorite overall trip?
Sure.
I only had one international trip this year. It was pretty light there. We went to Rome on Polaris, which I think is overrated. So that would be the thing that most people would probably say is their favorite flight. But I'll pick AA in business class to Maui when we flew in the lie flat. One, I think AA's business is better than Polaris. I know people will be mad at me for that. I would rank it Delta 1, AA2, United 3rd. United seats most private, I think, of them, unless you have the Delta 1 door, but it's not the most comfortable seat. I don't know that the food's the best. Service is kind of So I like that, going to Hawaii and lie flat's kind of fun. It's not the easiest to get. And then, my kids' first time doing that, and they were all excited about it. So that would be my favorite flight for the year.
I think mine would have to be Starlux from Taipei to LA. I booked that when they first went on sale at like 50,000 miles in business class. And then I ended up keeping that whole trip just because of that. But Starlux, a really cool airline. Their business class almost feels like first class level. They have these really interesting space or like spaceship themed lounges in Taipei, which is neat, but the seat is amazing. The product, service, it's a great way to fly. So that was my favorite flight of this year for sure. And I definitely recommend Starlux for anybody who's looking to go to Taiwan.
Nice. I know. I think Rick flew it, and he really, really enjoyed it and loved it, and thought it was a great product and good flight attendants and everything. So definitely got to check that out. For hotel, I was kind of going through a couple. Before the year started, or at the beginning of the year, I thought the Hana Hyatt in Maui would be my favorite. It's just the most unique property probably we went to this year. Weather didn't comply, so it wasn't my favorite. We're kind of stuck in rain and the coolest room or most unique room, but not my favorite. I would probably say, and we even did Waldorf Astoria Rome, which was really beautiful, but my favorite's got to be Conrad Orlando. I don't know that that's a surprise to you, but part of it's because we went just for the resort and we don't normally do that. And we kind of just lounged and had perfect weather. And it's such a premier property and got to relax right in the middle of all the craziness of travel and just something we hadn't done in a while. So really, really enjoyed that property.
I didn't have as many fancy hotel stays, like super, super fancy this year. So I hate to do this, but I was thinking I really enjoyed my trip to Nashville with Hilton, and they did pay for that. And that was to go see their brands. But I stayed in the Conrad Nashville. It's crazy that we're both talking about Conrads here, but my favorite room of this year was the Conrad Nashville. I will have to say that I truly enjoyed that. But the most iconic stay of this year was the Grand Hyatt Taipei, the haunted hotel. I finally got to stay there, and I was visited by spirits in my room. People can go back and listen to the podcast for that to see if you actually think I was haunted or not. But yeah, that was a great time.
I don't think I've heard that story yet. So it sounds interesting. Definitely go back and check it out. Now, for favorite trips, I had a couple, ones I was fighting between which way I wanted to go. The VIP Universal in Hollywood was a really cool, fun trip with my son. And Oceana was a great hotel stay, a unique boutique hotel. So that was a really fun weekend trip. But I'm going to have to give it up to San Diego, my shortest trip of the year, but going to the Top Gun bar, something I'd been wanting to do for 2 years now, and finally getting to pull it off was such a cool, unique experience. I don't know that I'll ever top that in a bar sense, and something that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. So, thank you to Veronica if she's watching for hooking that up. How about you?
Veronica is a cool person. Shout out, Veronica. For me, I had a couple. I was thinking I finally got to use that Delta Vacation voucher for Universal Orlando, which was a big thing. I did enjoy staying on property there. That was a great trip. Also, the opening day of Fantasy Springs at Tokyo Disney Sea. That was really neat. Our trip to Japan this summer, enjoyed that. We've been to Japan a lot. So it's really becoming my daughter's favorite country, and to watch her relate to that. But I think our last minute spring break where I saw that drone show at Disneyland Paris and decided to plan a whole trip around that. And not Disneyland Paris, but going to Lisbon. Lisbon was such an incredible city. Portugal, amazing. I can't wait to go back. Really lives up to the hype. And discovering Lisbon was the highlight of my year for sure.
Oh, I only heard great things about Lisbon and Portugal as a whole, so I definitely got to get there. And one of the easier places to find award space too in Europe, I think. So definitely need to get that on the bucket list. And of course, I have to still make it to Azores. You've been there. I'm so mad about it, but you didn't do the pineapple, so I can still do that.
There you go. But yeah, it's been an incredible year. It's passed by. We launched a 20-minute travel. Then we confused everybody by renaming the podcast. And now we have MTM travel. And yeah, everybody is confused. But it's been fun getting this going and everything here too. And obviously our Vegas stuff growing. So it's been a fun year traveling, talking about Vegas, talking about miles and points, and hopefully helping people achieve their travel dreams, because that's been the best part of doing this for over 10 years.
Yeah, thank you so much for everybody that subscribed and watched the shows and kind of come along with us on this journey. It's been fun, and we hope next year's even better.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. What are your favorite trips from this year? What are your favorite redemptions, flights, hotels? Share all of that in the comments. Your thoughts about anything else we talked about today. We do 2 shows a week. We do MTM Travel, our podcast that's talking about what we're doing in miles and points, our travels, more in-depth on topics like the Hilton devaluation. That's on Mondays. Then we do our quick 20-minute travel news on Wednesdays. Everything you need to know to juice up your lifestyle of travel, all here on 20-minute travel. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Have a great holiday week.